واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا.
الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله على ما أنعمت وأوليت يا رب العالمين. اللهم كما أنعمت فأدم وزدنا من نعمك واجعلنا من الشاكرين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله أرسله رحمة للعالمين وهدى وبشرى للمحسنين، فبلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. وصل اللهم عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واتبع سنته واقتفى أثره بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد روى البخاري عن حذيفة بن اليمان رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه قال: سأل عمر بن الخطاب يوما فقال: من يحفظ منكم حديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الفتنة؟ فقال حذيفة: أنا أحفظ كما قال. فقال عمر: هاتي إنك امرؤ جريء. قال حذيفة: قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: فتنة الرجل في أهله وولده وماله وجاره تكفرها الصلاة والصوم والصدقة والأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر. قال عمر: لست أسأل عن هذه، إنما التي تموج كموج البحر. قال: إن بينك وبينها بابا مغلقا. قال: أيفتح أم يكسر؟ قال: بل يكسر. فقال: إنه أحرى أن لا يغلق أبدا إذا. It's been narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari on the authority of Huzayfa ibn al-Yaman that once Umar ibn al-Khattab asked a question. He said, who's amongst you memorize the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding fitna? Huzayfa said, I do memorize it exactly as he said it. Umar said, then tell us, you are a daring man. And then Huzayfa said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the fitna of the man in his family, children, and his neighbor will be expiated by his salah, his siyam, his charity, and enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil. Umar said, I'm not asking about this fitna. I'm asking about that which moves like the waves of the sea. Huzayfa said, it's between you and that a very locked gate. And then Umar asked, would it be open or broken? He said, it will be broken. And then Umar said, then it will never be closed. So in this very hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ talks about fitna, the test, we have definitely plenty of tests in our life. But this one is addressing every single one of us. So he's saying the fitna which we'll be facing on a daily basis with your family, with your children, with your property, your wealth, your money, your earnings, your job, you name it, anything related to your livelihood, with your neighbor. It will be expiated through salah, siyam, and zakah, or charity, and enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil. Well, let's see first what is the definition of fitna. We have plenty of definitions. So I went through many of these definitions, but the one which I really like and which is very straight to the point is the definition of Ibn Abi Jamrah, the scholar of hadith, as Ibn Hajar narrated in Fath al-Bari, the commentary on Sahih al-Bukhari. Ibn Abi Jamrah said, anything which makes you away from Allah Azza wa Jal, it will be considered as fitna. So be it your family, your wife, your children, they might consume all your time, all your energy, and until you have nothing to dedicate to the akhirah, then this is fitna. Be careful. You are so immersed in your job until it sucked every single energy in you. This is fitna. Be careful. I'm not saying quit your job and quit your family. Don't misunderstand me. I'm saying you have to be careful. Don't break the balance. You have to be balanced between your family, your job, your children, your neighbors, and so on. So anything that takes you away from Allah, it will be fitna. Not only temptations of the dunya is fitna. No. Of course, this is very obvious. We don't need to talk about this. The temptations of the dunya is fitna, of course. But what is a bit far from our expectation sometimes, that even our involvement with our families and our jobs and our neighbors might be fitna that takes us from Allah Azza wa Jalla. So we need to be careful. And what's the way to expiate these mistakes, and sometimes might be sins? Prophet ﷺ, he made it clear in this hadith by saying, تُكَفِّرُهَا الصَّلَاةُ وَالصَّوْمُ وَالصَّدَقَةُ وَالْأَمْرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَالنَّهْيُ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ. So expiation of this fitna will be through our salah. Of course, the salah which has to be made with khushu' and tranquility and concentration. It's not the robotic salah and tick the box exercise salah, and not the autopilot salah, of course not. So the salah will expiate the sins and the mistakes. The siyam will expiate the sins and the mistakes. Zakah and the sadaqah will expiate the sins and the mistakes. Enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil with the right etiquettes and conditions definitely expires the sins and the mistakes. And how many fitan we have in our day? Plenty. We've been faced on a daily basis with plenty of tests. It might be your neighbor, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith, It might be this is your test, your neighbor, very annoying neighbor. And sometimes he might be very nice to the extent that he's annoying. He might be very annoying in a good way, or he might be very annoying in a positive way. So again, the balance is the right thing, in between. So this is your fitna. So because he's so kind, he wants every day to see how are you, and he wants to have a chat with you half an hour or what have you, and then you will be late for your job. He's nice, but this is your fitna, for instance. So you have to be careful what to do and how to deal with this. It might be your wealth, which is your fitna. It might be your wife, or your husband, or your children. So you have to be careful. So the Prophet ﷺ, he's warning us against fitan. In the other hadith which been narrated in Tirmidhi and Abu Dawood and others, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, ahead of you lies days of patience. إن من ورائكم أيام الصبر القابض فيهن على دينه كالقابض على الجمر. The one who's withholding to his deen like the one who's withholding to a red coal in his hand. للمتمسك فيهن بدينه أجر 50. The one who's withholding to his deen the reward of 50. And one of the companions asked the Prophet ﷺ, 50 of us or of them? He said, 50 of you. And another one asked the same question. He said, amongst 50 of us or of them? He said, no, 50 of you. 3 times, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To show that the fitan which we'll be facing is huge. It's not enough to lock your door to avoid the fitna. It sneaks to your bed these days with your phones and gadgets and you name it. So yes, the volume of the fitna is strong. The temptations are many, but nevertheless, the way is clear. To protect ourselves against the fitna, our salah has to be right, our siyam has to be right, our zakah has to be right, our charities has to be right, our principles has to be right, and then Allah will protect us against the fitna, inshallah ta'ala. No matter how huge or big or strong the fitna might be, even if it was like the waves of the sea, will be inshallah protected against it. But in order to do this, we have to stick to our principles, withhold to our principles, no matter how difficult it is, like holding to a red coal. And then the reward is immense, 50 of the companions. And whenever we are being faced by temptations, we have to be strong enough to reject and to have a good mechanism against the slippery slope which might take us to fitna. Even if you were to open a bit of this very gate of fitna, it will just push its way in to you. Don't even sneak, don't even try, because it will take us with it. So let's be careful. And remember what the response of Yusuf alayhi salam when he was presented by fitna. وراودته التي هو في بيتها عن نفسه. So the one he's living with her in her house, in her castle, she seduced him. And we know from the commentary that she was a very beautiful woman. She has the status, the beauty and everything. And she locked the doors. No one there, she's ready, and she said, Hayt lak, I'm ready for you. What did Yusuf alayhi salam say? He said, Ma'adh Allah. So he faced the fitna with protection mechanism. Ma'adh Allah. I seek refuge in Allah. Otherwise, I'll be driven to the fitna. Had we have no protection from Allah, all of us will just go into any fitna. Don't think that we are strong or immune against the fitna. Without Allah's support, we are so weak. As Allah stated clearly in the Quran. وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. And man has been created weak. In another verse he said, خَلَقَكُم مِّن ضَعْفٍ. He created you from weakness. So you are weak by nature. Unless you are connected with the source of power, the source of immunity, the source of protection, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we'll be so weak to face any fitna. So let's face any fitna by saying Ma'adh Allah. Whether it's at work, whether it's in the street, whether it's with your neighbors, whether it's online, offline, you name it. Ma'adh Allah. So always remember Allah. Always protect yourself against any fitna by seeking refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the only way we can protect ourselves. We can give a booster and energy to our system against the fitna. If we are not doing so, then we won't be amongst those who will get the reward of 50 of the companions. So if we want to get the reward of 50 of the companions, so let's stick to our principles and do our obligations and prioritize it over everything. These obligations has been revealed for our own good, not only for just being an obligation, no, for our own good. So this is why then the Prophet ﷺ says, Islam has been built on 5. Bunya al-Islam ala khams. So we see after the Shahada we have Salah and Siyam and Zakah and Hajj. The purpose of this is our own good. Protection-wise, spirituality, immunity, you name it. Had it been performed in accordance with his Sunnah alayhi salatu wasalam, then this will be our protection mechanism, inshaAllah ta'ala. So let's say, as Yusuf said, to any fitna, ma'adh Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لكم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن بعهده وفعله. We need to understand more about what might be a fitna. And the Prophet ﷺ, in the very beautiful hadith of Wabisa bin Ma'bad, one of the companions, came to the Prophet ﷺ and he wanted to ask a question. And the Prophet ﷺ said, shall I tell you or you tell me? Then Wabisa said to the Prophet ﷺ, you tell me. He said, you came to ask about al-bir, righteousness. Righteousness is about good character, حسن الخلق. And then this is where the evidence is. والإثم ما حاك في نفسك وكرهت أن يطلع عليه الناس. And evil is what waver in your chest and you are afraid that people might see it. So when you feel heaviness in your chest, when you feel this is not right, then there's something wrong. Don't neglect this. And of course, not all of us are that companion who has special spirituality and special transparency and enlightened heart. But nevertheless, we all that person, sometimes we feel that there's something wrong. If you felt this, don't neglect, don't deny this. Just leave it. Avoid it. Protect yourself against it. And don't try to find a way to justify it. Deep down in your heart, sometimes in our hearts, we know that this is wrong. But yeah, somebody might say, yeah, it's all right. Don't deceive yourself. Just stay on the safe side, protected against fitna. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from fitan. Allahumma ya Rabbu ya Rahman, ya Badi'a as-samawati wal ard, ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram. اللهم احفظنا من الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم جنبنا الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. احفظنا واحفظ أعراضنا وأزواجنا ونساءنا وإخواننا وأحبابنا من الفتن يا رب العالمين. اللهم ثبتنا على دينك وطاعتك. اللهم ثبتنا على دينك وطاعتك. اللهم اجعلنا متمسكين بدينك يا رب العالمين. وأجرنا أجر 50 من الصحابة يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. وإذا أردت بعبادك فتنة فقدنا إليك غير مفتونين ولا ضالين ولا مضلين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجز عنا سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. اللهم شفعه فينا. اللهم اسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم اجعلنا رفقاء النبي المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم في الجنة. اللهم يا حي يا قيوم فرج عن عبادك المستضعفين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها. فرج عن إخواننا في بلاد الشام. فرج عن فلسطين وسوريا والعراق. وفرج عن مصر وفرج عن اليمن وليبيا. وفرج عن أفغانستان وفرج عن كشمير وبورما. فرج عن بلاد المسلمين جميعا يا رب العالمين. فرجا عاجلا غير آجل يا الله. فرجا عاجلا غير آجل يا الله. أجب دعانا بكرمك يا مولانا. صلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.